Okay, our next topic of the day, we want to talk about the Harvey benefit concert that is coming, which is a really positive thing given all of the attention on the Gulf Coast right now. So Cornelia, you've learned more about this?
Yeah, September 12th, the Harvey benefit concert, like Megan said, it's called Hand in Hand, a benefit for Hurricane Harvey relief. It will air live Los Angeles, New York, Nashville. On that day, across all platforms, NBC, CBS, ABC, Country Music Channel, and Fox, and it's going to be available on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube simultaneously. Good. So you got different options, different ways to watch it. Everybody can kind of join in. And some of the people who have been announced to participate, whether they're performing or just in the mix, presenting or whatnot: Beyonce, Barbara Streisand, George Clooney, Oprah Winfrey, Blake Shelton, and Reese Witherspoon. And it's still early. It's only.
Did you say George Clooney?
George Clooney and Reese. George might have pipes, though.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
George
Sam Jackson's got pipes. He's singing in his new ad, and he sounds good.
Well, it's still early, so I wouldn't be surprised if more people jump on board. Because I mean, if you're an entertainer who has a reputation or to care about people, or if you just want to do something to help, this was probably one of the biggest events to jump in on. The same way with Ariana Grande, how everybody kind of got on board and supported the concert that she put on for the victims of the bombing in Manchester. So this is going to be a great event, and you can support, and you have every opportunity to watch, because now we're doing streaming, which hasn't been available in the past couple of years, but now it is.
Which is smart for them to stream on all the social platforms, because that is just where kids are at. Will you be watching, Walt Gray?
You know, I'm thinking images of Live Aid come up in the mid-'80s when this whole kind of genre of after an event or for a great cause, you get musicians together, and that was probably one of the first. No one will be able to touch that. After 9/11, there was the same thing, and how somber that was. My first concern when you mentioned this, Cornelia, was that this concert's going to be going on when I think Hurricane Irma is going to be hitting Florida.
Right.
So it's like, okay, you've got a live hurricane going on. You've got a concert to raise money for Houston. What happens after Irma? Are they going to have to do a telethon? And it's like, oh my gosh. And then there's one out somewhere else that's coming in after Irma. Yeah. And it's like, it's just a lot going on.
And what happens if Irma hits Houston again?
It could, yeah.
Yeah, that's what Rob
This path is
saying it could happen.
Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine.
So you think a little too soon?
No. I'm just thinking it's a bit of timing irony. That obviously this is great for Harvey. Obviously people have raised money. I know J.J. Watt is up around $20 million.
That's wild.
Although you talk about the damage, that's a drop in the bucket.
They say 180 billion on track to be the costliest.
A lot of people feel the need to help, and that's great that they are. And then I'm just thinking, as this concert's going on, what's Irma going to be doing? Just a timing irony thing.
Yeah, well, you know, again, but it's shaping up to be a nasty hurricane season. Some seasons are a little lighter than most. Yeah. But after Katrina and after you see the damage, because in all actuality, Katrina's still not cleaned up from Hurricane Katrina. Used to have still entire neighborhoods that are boarded up. People never came back to their homes. A lot of people went to Houston and just never came back. So with that, I think people are kind of ready to get the relief going and get that conversation going, and especially seeing how everybody kind of rallied around the people in Houston. If Irma does hit the way it looks like it's going to hit, because right now it's a Category 5, then people, I mean, we're just going to have to jump on board and do the same for Irma, and then the next one, and then the next one, and the next one. Because
do you think what happened in Houston, given, like you mentioned, the timing irony here, people have, we've seen people in Florida already stocking up and getting out of.
Shelves are gone. Shelves are. Do
you think there's a bit of, okay, we saw what happened in Houston?
Oh, yeah. That's a very good point, actually. Floridians are used to doing all this, but in this case, I think that really was a wake-up call, seeing that a lot of people tried to ride it out with Harvey in Houston, and the shelves have already been cleaned out in Florida, and I think the second round of shelves at your Home Depots and your supermarkets with the essentials are going again. People are not messing around. Yeah. I got a buddy who runs a landscape service in South Florida on Sanibel Island, Man-Reed Landscaping. He says his phone for 24 hours is blowing up.
What?
People want him to come and trim their tree limbs and get that stuff done. All of that. Spurs business too. Yeah. I mean, but they're well on their way to getting ready for this next round.
Yeah. You did spend time in Florida.
8 years, yeah.
8 years. Yeah. You remember when
I remember all this.
Katrina went over?
Yeah, I was in Florida for an event, and Katrina went over South Florida on its way to the Gulf, and then I flew out back this way, and we flew through Katrina before it hit New Orleans. Then I got back here, and Katrina hit New Orleans, and then I remember the live shot. It was Shepard Smith was downtown on Bourbon Street, and he goes, "Katrina has passed over. We've seen the worst of it. And it seems like New Orleans has survived Katrina." Hold on, we're getting reports of some levees being compromised down in the 9th Ward area. We're going to have to check on that. It was after the hurricane, and the levees gave way, and that's what the flooding issue was with New Orleans. Wow. So I was just remembering the initial reports of Katrina. We survived it. Oh, I guess we didn't.
Yeah. And then you remember, it was the benefit concert. Was it a concert or was it just a?
It was like a benefit. Yeah, it was a benefit telethon event, and people remember that when Kanye West was up there with Mike Myers, and Mike Myers said something, and then Kanye says, "George Bush does not care about black people." Yeah. And then that was what people remembered, and it kind of started the conversation around it because of Katrina was bad, and I believe over 1,800 people died in that one. So it was.
Right now we're at last check, it was 60 people for Harvey, but given everything we've seen, they haven't yet cleared all of those homes and cars out.
And a good point by Cornelia with New Orleans that there are huge sections of neighborhoods which are been abandoned, and that was how long ago? 10 years or so.
2005.
And
12 years.
They fixed up the French Quarter and some nice sections of New Orleans, because that's where the tourist money is. But those people in the poorer sections of New Orleans who left went to Houston and other places, and that part of New Orleans, large sections of the town away from Bourbon Street, are ghost towns.
Ray Kemp says, Irma is on her way. I love the attempt, talking about this benefit concert, but the FEMA infrastructure discussion needs to be had. Walt Gray, question mark, question mark.
You know, I think FEMA's doing the best that they can. I think you prepare for disasters like the American Red Cross, and then when something as big as Houston hits, and then on its tail comes Irma, and then on its tail comes something else. There isn't enough planning. There's not enough you can do with so many people displaced. I understand that everybody hates government, but then as soon as something happens to them, that's the first place they turn, is where's Uncle Sam to help me out? Although I've been dogging Uncle Sam all this time, but now I need something. It's just there's only so much government can do for you.
And now people are being put in temporary homes, but then at that point, what happens after that? What happens after the temporary time span has passed?
Right. You got to hope that you have a relative in some town 700 miles away that can take you in. Yeah. Until you can figure it out. I hate that's where it is sometimes. But if something were to happen in Sacramento with flooding or the levees,
which we
would all be in the same boat. Like, our house is gone. Where do we go? Okay, I guess in a hotel for a year. Or who's going to pay for that if you don't have flood insurance?
Kids in school. I mean, it's a trickle down.
Okay, what happens then? And that's where those people are.
And all the people without the flood insurance.
And even if you do have flood insurance, you still, that's your property. You own this piece of property that is now underwater.
And
all of your belongings are in there. Everything you own, you probably left with your purse if you're lucky.
If you're lucky.
But besides that, you pretty much, you're down to nothing. You're down with you have your life, and that's pretty much it.
Right.
Oh, so sad. Well, back to the benefit concert. Hopefully that raises a ton of money, but only time will tell. A couple days from now, we'll understand what's going to happen with Irma.
And you still have individuals doing their own efforts. JJ Watt is still doing his. Kevin Hart still has one going. There's small, different pop-up shops. Even people directly from Houston. I have a lot of friends who were in LA, entertainers from Houston, who went to Houston with stuff, like did a drive in LA and then took the stuff to Houston just to give out like immediately, like clothes and soap, shampoo, diapers for babies,
toilet paper,
feminine care products. So a lot of people, it's all hands on deck, and that's kind of what you need to see in times like this.
And we saw Marcus Allen out there this morning. People locally just trying to do anything they can, take a couple of trucks down there and do what they can. So those efforts, again, if you want to donate, our company, which is the Greater Tegna Company, has set up this initiative called Texas Cares. You can visit our website, abc10.com/Texas Cares, if you would like to donate. I know we've raised more than $2 million. We keep saying $2 million at this point. I'm sure it's more than that, but by now. So again, that link should be in the comment section because our digital team is so spot on, and they've definitely linked you up.